One of the things I love in the run-up to Christmas are nativity pageants. We have many of them here at OL. We had an extraordinary one this afternoon at 3 o'clock, 2,500 people in the Palladium to see our beautiful pageant. But the school and religious ed had lovely pageants. There's something about seeing children acting out the story of the birth of our Lord. You know, you have to have a heart of granite not to be moved by their version or the way they see this remarkable story. I'm going to let you in on a secret. There's a top secret blog for priests called Can You Top This? And it's a collection of bulletin bloopers, sermon bloopers, the crazy situations that priests get involved in. And I was struck by one I saw the other day called The Nativity Scene from Hell. And I thought, this sounds very good. And this priest tells this story. There was this 7th grader who had his heart set on being St. Joseph. And the teacher said to the committee, he always goes off script. I think that's too big of a role for him. Why don't we find something simpler? So they decided to have him be the innkeeper. He's got one line, "No, there is no room in the inn," and closes the door. How can he mess that up? So he's very good at the rehearsals. A couple times he slammed the door a little bit too hard in Joseph's face, but that was okay. So it's the night of the pageant. The church is full of people. There's a door on the stage, the opening scene, and above the door it says, "The Inn of Bethlehem." And Joseph and Mary walk up to the door. Joseph knocks on the door and says, "My wife is pregnant. Do you have a room available?" And the innkeeper says, "We've got plenty of room. I got a room that has the view of Mount Sinai. Breakfast is included. You'll love it here." The pastor said, "Now what do we do?" "Well, we just closed the curtains, and when they opened, Mary and Joseph were in the stable. We just pretended like the scene never happened." This focus these days is on Bethlehem, the road to Bethlehem. And the Lord presents to us the road to Bethlehem. And this road has been long, and it has been circuitous, and it has been painful, and it has been glorious, and it was clear, and it was confusing. The road that began, one could argue, with the covenant that Yahweh made with Abraham. It was 4,000 years before the birth of Christ. And 1,000 years later, the road gets clearer because the prophet Isaiah says, "Indeed, the Messiah will be born in Bethlehem because he will be of the lineage of King David. He will be royal in his heritage." And now the gospel scene shows us the road to Bethlehem as the birth of Christ draws very near. Those who were closest to Bethlehem were the shepherds. They were out in the fields. Shepherds were simple people, hardworking people. They were close to nature, close to animals. Every night they saw the glory of God's majesty in the evening skies over Judea. When the angels announced that the Messiah had been born, they didn't need to listen to a bunch of arguments. They didn't have to be persuaded. No one had to make a case. They simply believed that the Son of God had been born into history. Those that came the furthest were probably the 3 wise men. Unlike the shepherds, they were great scholars of all things spiritual. They studied the skies, they studied the prophets, they studied the words that had been handed down from one generation to the next, and they connected the dots. And when they saw the Star of Bethlehem, they knew that this was the time. But intellectual and scholarly pursuits can only get you so far in the ways of faith. Because sooner or later, you have to believe or you don't believe. You can listen to arguments till the cows come home. People can say this, they can see that. You can read this, you can read that. What do you believe? Do you believe that Jesus Christ is the Son of God? Obviously, when they saw that child in the swaddling clothes, they knew they had encountered the Son of God. Probably the greatest person on this road to Bethlehem is Mary, for she unconditionally accepts the will of God, not aware of its consequences completely. How could she? But she, out of pure faith, chose to say yes. And then there's Joseph, quiet Joseph, who could have easily divorced Mary, but he heard in his dreams the word of the angel who assured him of the birth of this child coming from God. And he becomes the companion, the soulmate, the protector. This gospel today suggests to you and to me the question, where are you on the road to Bethlehem? Is the road clear, or are there obstacles? Are there things that are happening that makes Bethlehem hard to see right now? Or maybe you're at a time of feeling the grace of God in such a way that you rejoice wholeheartedly. It's very evident, it's very clear. And all of us in this church tonight, no matter where we're at, we're all on this road. The road that leads us to Christ himself, born into history and born into our hearts. And the great promise of Christmas is to allow this spectacular, powerful moment touch us so that we can be renewed again as we move into another year of our spiritual journey, our ongoing pursuit of the city of Bethlehem, to find the Lord born again and again in your life and in mine. And we are encouraged, like many of the characters in the Christmas story, to allow God to walk with us, to hold up to the Lord our fears, our vulnerabilities, our brokenness, our sadness, and to open our hearts to the Lord's gracious gift of promise and mercy and hope and forgiveness and new life and new joy of beginning anew, starting a new chapter, beginning a new path that will lead us even closer in our journey to ultimately be with the Lord in the eternal Bethlehem, the place where he reigns in all his power. We celebrate this night of beginning. We allow the excitement of this ancient story to trigger within us again the joy and the marvel of faith, to see, as those in the Christmas story saw, the remarkable power of God made human, of the Lord made flesh. May this Christmas be a time for all of us to stay the course, to continue our spiritual journey, to allow the manifestations of God's love to continue to shape us and form us. Maybe we have to name some of those obstacles in the road that are keeping us from knowing the Lord more deeply. Maybe we have to let go of some things and leave them behind. Some of these memories or mistakes or whatever they are that keep us from enjoying and experiencing the love that Christ has for every single one of us. May your Christmas be blessed. Come, let us adore him, the newborn King. Thank you for participating in this production of our virtual Mass. Your presence means so much. Every day, so many parishioners connect to OLPH through the digital ministry. The digital ministry is one of almost 80 ministries supported by the parish. That's why your support of the parish is crucial, so we can continue to have the resources to fund all of our ministries that touch the lives of many. Thank you for watching, continue to watch, and thanks again for your support.